from Stats and Stuff by Phocuswright.
Good evening, Singapore and APAC region. Here at Phocuswright, we have been keeping busy building and revising models and analyzing anticipated recovery rates for different markets around the world. For our second session of Stats and Stuff, I will share 5 charts in 5 minutes to give you a sense of how we see recovery in the online travel market. In particular, how supplier.com channels performed vis-a-vis OTA channels for hotels through 2020, and how this dynamic is likely to evolve through the recovery. Let's start with the global market, where online bookings fell about 57% year over year in 2020, which is a smaller decrease than the total market. One thing that we've seen, not just in travel, but generally during the pandemic, is that as in-person interaction wasn't possible, people turned to online channels. And so, compared to the overall travel market, the rate of growth of online will also be faster. Talking of online, the rapid growth in online travel continues, from 35% in 2014 to 43% in 2017 to 54% in 2020. We saw a 5% increase in the last year, but this growth will moderate and start to plateau as we reach saturation. So how does this online market spread between supplier.com and OTA? Here is a look at the US market, zeroing in on the hotel segment. Despite the pandemic shock, online channel share remained relatively stable in 2020, with only a slight shift toward the supplier direct channel. Chain hotels have been making strides with their Book Direct campaigns by adding loyalty members and attracting guests through their website or app with lower prices and perks. Hotels might have gained even more share, but in 2020, loyalty members, those most likely to book on a hotel website or app, mostly stayed home. OTAs were able to stay within a close margin of the direct channel, as mostly younger travelers who are less brand loyal and more likely to use OTAs ventured out. Supplier direct online share is expected to stabilize at 48% in 2021 and remain consistent through 2024. Here is a look at the European market, again zeroing in on the hotel segment. Europe's hotel market continues to be fragmented, with a relatively large share of small and independently owned properties. These non-chain affiliated properties often lack the resources and technology to invest in and maintain strong online presence. They tend to rely more heavily on offline channels, and this dynamic favors OTAs. Online travel agencies were projected to capture nearly twice the revenue of online supplier direct platforms in 2020. Together, global giants Booking.com and Expedia account for roughly 2/3 of OTA bookings in Europe. Despite the online dominance of OTAs, hotel chains and independents alike are increasing their efforts to control their own distribution and reduce their dependency on intermediaries. However, OTAs will continue to dominate the online share at 59% share compared with supplier direct. Shifting to Asia Pacific, here is a look at the Australia-New Zealand hotel market. Comprising 45% of Australia and New Zealand's total travel market, lodging crashed 51% in 2020 due to the pandemic. Suppliers were able to gain some share on the online market during the pandemic as travelers shifted to direct channels to gain information on COVID-related procedures and area opening information. OTAs are anticipated to gain back half of that share loss by 2022 and maintain 72% of the online market into 2024. In China, room revenue slumped by 52% during 2020. The online travel hotel market is strongly controlled by the OTAs, who actually gained 4 percentage points during 2020. OTAs already own a dominant position in China, accounting for 80% of online hotel in 2019, and that share is projected to increase in 2021 due to a younger traveler pool. Hotels will turn to OTAs to stimulate demand, and by 2024, OTAs are expected to account for 84% of digital hotel bookings. Two key takeaways. One, pandemic has accelerated the shift to digital channels, and the online travel market performed more strongly than the total travel market. And two, with the exception of China, supplier direct gained some share from OTAs during the pandemic as travelers went to direct channels for most up-to-date information, although this share is unlikely permanent due to the general disloyalty of travelers, in particular younger travelers who searched OTAs for price and breadth of offer.